こんにちは、アーサーです。英語ずっと頑張っているのに全然上達している感じがしないと思ったことありますか？僕もですね、同じ経験があるんです。日本語でですね。僕は今何年も日本に住んで毎日日本語を使ってるのに、なんか全然上手くなってる気がしない。全然上達してる気がしないんですね。でもある日、あることがきっかけで、そのモヤモヤが一気にスッと消えたんです。今日はですね、その経験をシェアしてそこから気づいた3つのことをお伝えしたいと思います。この動画を最後まで見ると、テストを受けなくても自分の上達を確認できる方法がわかると思います。あと、あなたの英語のレッスンのために、この話は英語で話しますね。でも安心してください。英語と日本語の字幕が両方ついているので、ぜひ一緒に見ましょう。よろしくお願いします。So, here's what happened. It was about a year ago from the filming of this video. I had been living in Japan for almost 10 years at this point. And my Japanese was fine. I could get through daily life. I could talk with my students in Japanese. I could go to the doctor, handle things at City Hall. But something felt off. I didn't have many problems using Japanese in my everyday life, but I also didn't feel like I was improving. I wasn't learning new words. My grammar felt the same, just regular American Japanese, right? And sometimes I'd miss what people said. Sometimes I'd misunderstand something and I'd think, man, my Japanese isn't improving at all. Will I ever get better? At least that's what I thought. Then one day I was scrolling through YouTube and I saw a comment on one of my videos and it said this. 朝めちゃくちゃ日本語が上手くなってる. And I just stared at it. What? Why did this person feel this way? I felt like I hadn't changed at all. And I was just doing what I always do. But that comment stuck with me. So I went back and looked up some of my old videos from a few years before. And honestly, I was shocked. Like in this video here.
何々って英語で何て言うのという質問を聞いたことありませんか？一見この質問は英語学習にすごく役に立ちそうなんですが、実はそうでもありません。それってなぜでしょうか？代わりにどんな質問がいいんでしょうか？
I mean, in this video, I looked really stiff, not myself. The way I shared ideas, the flow of my sentences, even just how relaxed I was on camera, it was completely different. And it was in that moment that I realized I had actually been growing and improving without realizing it. So here's the truth I learned from this. When you're focused on 実際に使える英語力, actually using English, making friends, and having real conversations, building that muscle memory, well, you actually improve day by day. But it's so gradual that you can't really feel it. It's like riding a bike. The more you actually do it, the more natural it gets. But you never wake up one morning and think, wow, I got 3% better at biking today. Or think about it this way. You look in the mirror every day, right? And you don't notice the little changes in your face day to day. But when you look at a photo from 1, 2, 3 years ago, you notice how much you've changed, right? And real growth works like that. It's invisible from the inside. And to be honest, that's actually why so many people feel the pull of traditional English study. You learn a new word, you get that dopamine hit. You get a score on a test, you feel validated. But here's the thing. There are so many people who memorize words or get high scores on tests, but still can't speak when they come face to face with a foreigner. And so there's a real tension here. You can choose real growth that you don't notice in the moment, or you can choose something that feels like progress but isn't actually moving you forward. So What should you do in this situation? Well, number one is to understand this feeling is completely natural. The first thing is to understand that everyone feels this way. It's not a sign that something is wrong, it's just how our brains work. And honestly, we humans tend to focus on the negative stuff, me included. Our brains were developed to find problems because that kept us alive from threats and danger. But in today's world, it doesn't always help us. There's a book by Seth Godin, one of my favorite authors, called The Dip. And in it, he explains that whenever we're on a journey to improve at something, there's always a dip before we feel real progress, before we see real progress. We start off excited, we started, get some improvement, then we hit some difficulty. Then the negative voices in our heads get louder, and then we start to lose hope, thinking we'll never improve. That is the dip. And it's at that point that most people quit. But if you can push through it, that's when things really start to change. Now, to get through the dip, we need to do number two, trust the process. If you know your method works, if you know it brings results, then focus on the method. Focus on what you do every day, not the results. Instead of asking yourself, how good is my English? How much did my English improve? Ask yourself, did I use English today? Did I talk about a new topic with someone? Did I have a real conversation? Now, here's a big caveat. Now, this caveat word is very useful. You should remember this. ちょっと余談ですけど, you should definitely learn the word caveat. Now, here's the big caveat. This only works if it's a method that actually brings results. There are a lot of flashy and fun ways to learn English out there. I'm looking at you, Duolingo. But a lot of them actually don't really help people speak in real life. And that's actually why I made my free video course, to give people a method to build that 実際に使える英語力. And I'll tell you more about that at the end of this video. But you don't just have to go through the motions and hope for the best. There's something concrete you can do. If you focus on the process and it works and you know it works, just focus on what you do every day, not the results. But even if I say that, it's a lot easier said than done, right? One thing to keep your motivation to go is to feel like you're getting results. And so for that, you can do number three. Record yourself from time to time. Just like I went back and watched that old video and saw my progress, you can do the same thing. Next time when you're speaking English, please record yourself, even just on your phone, and keep that recording. And then 3 months later, or 6 months later, or 1 year later, when you're feeling down and thinking nothing has changed, you can go back and listen to that recording. And I promise you, you'll hear a difference. Actually, I see this happen with my students all the time. They've studied English for many years, feel no results. They come join my program and talk with foreigners in their everyday life. But still, they can feel like they're not improving very much. And so instead of me telling them that they've improved, I ask them to think about this. How are your conversations now compared to 3 months ago? And they pause for a second. でも確かに前よりスムーズになって気がするけどね。そういえばレッスンもちょっと上達したかな? And I ask them, are you talking about deeper things? And they say things like, yeah, actually, I talked about the differences in culture between America and Japan. It was very interesting. Sometimes I offer to have them listen to the old recordings, but a lot of times they say, yeah, それもう見なくてもいい。恥ずかしい. And then I see it. This little smile comes back to their face because they realize they have been improving. They were just so focused on the things they still can't do that they forgot to notice how far they've come. And that's in my situation too. It's so easy for me to think about, oh, what Japanese mistakes did I make? What words did I forget? What couldn't I say? But when I look back to the past, I am improving a lot. And that is real growth. Real growth doesn't announce itself. It doesn't come with a score or certificate. It just quietly becomes part of who you are.このメッセージは少しでも励みになったならとっても嬉しいです。でもやっぱり第一歩を踏み出すのって怖いですよね。ということは今の英語学習で満足している方、またはやっぱり第一歩を踏み出せない、ちょっと怖い、もうちょっと勉強したいと思っている方は問題ないんです。ぜひこちらの動画をご覧ください。でももしあなたは今の英語学習をやめて実際に話せるようになりたい、今までと違うことに挑戦したいのであれば、そのために IU-Connect を作ったんですね。で、具体的に IU-Connect でどうやって皆さんが実際に話せるようになっているかは無料の動画講座でそのメソッドをシェアしています。心から学びたい方のためにメールでお届けしますので、詳細とご登録はこちらをタップするか概要欄にあるリンクをタップしてぜひご登録ください。Anyways, thanks so much for watching and I can't wait to see you in the next video. これからも一緒に世界とつながりましょう。See you next time. Bye bye. Anyways, thanks so much for wishing. Okay. Wish. Anyways, thanks so much for watching and I can't wait to see you in the next video. これからも一緒に世界とつながりましょう。